The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive, covering the latest in wrestling and beyond. You're listening to the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
What's up, boys and girls? Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders here. Thank you so much for checking us out tonight. Going to be joined by co-host Diamond K in just a little bit. Hey, boys and girls, how about that new Chris Jericho show there, Robot Combat League on Sci-Fi? My God, that was a pretty freaking amazing episode. I don't know about you all, but I was hooked on that in like the first 5 minutes. I mean, I was just sold. And I mean, what guy couldn't appreciate the whole concept of that show? I mean, it just had me automatically think back to when I was a little kid and I used to watch the whole Rock'em Sock'em. I used to watch my cousins and them. I used to watch them play the Rock'em Sock'em games, and that just totally kicked major ass. I mean, that is just basically how I think of Robot Combat League, and definitely a good series. Chris Jericho, that man knows how to pick 'em. I mean, you got to give this guy props. And he actually was doing pretty damn good tonight in the last 15 minutes of the show there when it came down to offering commentating during the robot fighting. Just truly, I got to give my hats off to Jericho. Jericho knows a winning concept when he sees one, and I would expect big numbers for this new series. And you know it's a big deal anytime WWE sits up and they acknowledge it. I mean, when's the last time you guys went over to the WWE.com website? Has it been a while? Well, if so, you might want to take a little glander at it right now or maybe throughout the course of the night or this week. I mean, they just have Chris Jericho plastered all over the home page. They gave him one of the sliding spots there and let you know how big of a deal it is. Good way to capitalize on him, his recent return to the company, making great success outside of the company. WrestleMania time, too. Some really good stuff right there. All right, so we got a jam-packed episode planned for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about the fallout from WWE Raw. We're also going to be kicking back, and we'll share with you the very latest in wrestling-related news. Been a little bit of a slow week, but we didn't want you guys feeling like you all were being left hanging. We got you covered. Don't worry about that. Everything you come to love from the dynamic duos over here. So I'm trying to buy Diamond K just a little bit more time because I know usually he be having some serious headset problems. So hopefully he's going to have that resolved, and we'll have a smooth show for you all tonight. And let me just say this before we jump right into things. I want to just, on a serious note, let you guys know we appreciate the whole ton of support that you guys had showed over the weekend as you had checked out our weekend edition of the RCWR show. You also had checked out a UFC post show that we had did. Now, I caught a little bit of heat for that UFC post show. On the one hand, folks, they did appreciate the fact that I was covering it because apparently a lot of folks, they didn't even order the pay-per-view. So there were a good ton of folks that had appreciated the post show that we did, but there was also some that gave me a few words of wisdom. One of our listeners said, hey, man, good approach, but you got to learn some of those moves, man. I recommend you start learning jiu-jitsu so you can start naming more of the moves because that's really the source of MMA fighting is the jiu-jitsu, a little bit of taekwondo. So very proud to say that I am beginning to do my homework on that. And next time around when we do have a UFC post show, it's definitely going to be better than what we had did before. If you didn't listen to it and you just asked me honestly, scale of 1 to 10, how was that UFC post show? I would honestly give it maybe a 6.5, maybe a 7. Definitely ways of improvement right there. But I'm just glad you guys had fun checking it out, those of you that did enjoy it. But thanks for that, and thanks for checking out our weekend edition of the RCWR show. And, you know, we had met a little bit of negative feedback from one of the shows that we have put out last week. And this is my message. I just want to say this one more time because I know we have a lot more listeners that check out Tuesday night show as opposed to the other shows. You know, when I say we, me and Diamond K. Diamond K isn't Marv Albert, and I'm not John Madden, although I am packing a couple extra pounds nowadays. But, you know, we're not play-by-play commentators. We aren't going to sit up and tell you guys if you miss Raw or Impact Wrestling. We're not going to tell you guys match by match what the hell happened. We're going to sit up. We're going to throw it out there, whatever scenario had went down. We'll go in depth on key segments that come off of significant importance. And, you know, we'll offer our honest takeaway of it, and we'll also kick back in. We'll mix in a little bit of wrestling news. You know how we do it over here, everything you've come to expect. You know, but we met a little bit of negative feedback as we had some people that were apparently expecting me and Diamond to give play-by-play of what all went down on some of these shows. And Diamond Buddy, you know, I think our message to folks needs to be, if you need for us to let you know what happened between a CM Punk and John Cena match move for move, then you might as well make it be your business to go, I don't know, maybe hop on YouTube, watch the entire match, you know, or, you know, set your DVR or something like that. I don't really know, but that's just my take on that. Diamond, any words, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying 100%. They want us to be the second team of play-by-play.
Apparently, a couple of defects I had read there. Yeah, it was like, and surprisingly, this was on YouTube. Normally, YouTube audience is pretty good, but they're like, they wanted match by match, and apparently our timing of some wrestling news-related stuff that we brought up, the timing was off. True story, guys, I don't know about Diamond, but I can definitely tell you guys, I actually play the entire episode back every time me and Diamond do our thing every week. And quite honestly, if there's something about the show that I don't like, it's going to be improved in the next week. Now, there's been times in the past where I've put a bad episode out there, and I'll literally say, I don't like it, and I'll actually delete it. Nobody will get to hear it. Now, the last time I did that, what'd I say? We've done 170 episodes. The last time I actually deleted an episode I did not like was probably episode 5. So that kind of gives you a little bit of insight here. But yeah, he's not Marv Albert. I'm not John Madden. We're not going to give you guys play-by-play. If you missed it, God, you missed it. You best bet is to hop on YouTube, hop on Daily Motion. I don't know. Maybe a friend has it on their DVR. Go over their house. I don't know, man. But dude, how about that Robot Combat League? I was telling the folks about that. Does Jericho know how to pick a winner or what?
I heard some people talking about it. I just recently saw the commercial. Actually, last night during Raw, I actually saw the commercial. How was it? So it came on tonight, right?
Yeah. I know they're going to show our encore, I believe, later tonight. Don't quote me on that. I haven't checked the DVR yet. But it was damn good. I mean, Jericho was just... First 5 minutes, I was hooked. It's like, let me see what this is about. My expectations weren't that high. It was kind of like, let me just go in, and just, don't expect too much. But, it was just totally off the hook, man. I was like, okay, Jericho, good job. And I guess he has found that little niche there because WWE, I don't know when's the last time he visited the website, but they got it plastered all over their website of Jericho and his new show there. I'm like, wow, they're giving this guy more advertising than they did when he was with Fozzy. I'm like, dang. That's just crazy, man. How was your weekend, man?
So far so good. It's very cold here in Atlanta, but we're making it.
That's right. You are down there meeting with Gucci, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. So how's that going?
That's actually going to be tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay.
So, yeah. So we're shooting some footage and stuff like that. So.
And you're going to be posting pics on
Oh, definitely. And we're shooting another music video. We shot another one. Shot a music video today, actually. So, yeah, so it's been working.
Oh,
definitely got a chance to check out Raw.
Yeah. Oh, that Raw. Oh, God, man. Where do we begin? Let's begin with the top, man. How about that freaking opening? I mean, I had to just sit on my hands for a minute and just think, when was the last time we saw a powerful opening like that? And I would dare say you kind of almost have to go back to when Triple H was crowned with the World Heavyweight title by Eric Bischoff.
Taking back that far.
Yeah, I think you have to go that far back. I mean, that was a pretty explosive Raw segment that we had got from Monday night. I mean, it looked as if it was going to be Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman getting it on, but I mean, it was written on the wall for weeks now that the next time Vince and Heyman would be in the ring after Vince's little hip surgery there, that we were definitely going to be seeing Triple H, Brock Lesnar, and I mean, those two guys, they did not disappoint one little bit. I mean, that brawl and Diamond, you know, I as much of a Triple H fan as I am, there is something that we have to acknowledge, and it just wouldn't be fair to acknowledge it, as I did notice it. I'm sure many of you noticed it. Diamond, I probably bet you noticed it. Looked like Triple H had a little bit of a bathroom problem there, as he was getting ready to take on Brock Lesnar. And Diamond, I can only imagine the conversation that maybe Triple H had there in the backstage with Vince McMahon. I don't want to. God damn it, just think about the buy rates. I don't want to fight Brock. He's like literally peed his pants, man. Damn. Let me stop. I know that's not what happened, but I mean, my God.
It was the water. It was the water.
Yeah, it looks so freaking, and I like how WWE, they kind of, originally the images from the brawl, it was in color, right? But now they're kind of showing black and white images. They're trying to protect that area right there. And I can only imagine the folks that are just kicking back and are just going, oh, man, Triple H peed himself. But, all that aside, I mean, damn good brawl. I mean, we saw Brock Lesnar get busted open. Oh, it was just beautiful, man, just crimson red. And I'm saying to myself, man, I said this off the break. I said, man, we're watching a WWF Attitude episode of Raw right here. We're seeing blood.
Definitely. I definitely think that they've changed their tune, or at least they should change their tune. The exchanges that we got between Brock Lesnar and Triple H, very exciting. That's why you can't really armchair quarterback. You really have to kind of see how things play out, because when it comes to WrestleMania season, everybody usually steps up.
I'm pumped. I can't wait to see how these two guys get it on. But one thing though, I'm concerned with Brock Lesnar. Okay, here's the thing. Let's think back for a moment, for you hardcore Brock Lesnar fans, especially. Just think back for a minute. Last go rounds that Brock Lesnar was in the WWE. Think about some of the main important matches leading right on up to his exit. Need a little memory jogger? I got you hooked up. I actually did some freaking homework tonight. It's going to be a good-ass show. Peep this out. He lost to Eddie Guerrero as Guerrero became the WWE champion back at No Way Out 2004. I actually remember ordering that pay-per-view. I believe I still actually have it on VHS. Yeah, I'm old school, folks. You follow that up with Goldberg defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20, right? Brock Lesnar comes back years later. He loses to John Cena at Extreme Rules last year. You follow that up with him defeating Triple H at SummerSlam. Now, we already know, I think it's safe to assume, Brock Lesnar is going to lose to Triple H at this year's WrestleMania because, after all, this is the King of Kings. Everybody on the grandest stage of them all, at some point, has to bow down to the king. You have to, unless you're Undertaker. So, here's the question. We're hearing the rumblings that WWE, they want to have Brock Lesnar face The Rock at WrestleMania 30. Now, last these two men were even in the same arena, same ring, it was at SummerSlam 2002 in New York where Brock defeated Rock, become the new undisputed champion. This Mania rematch that they got planned for WrestleMania 30, as intriguing as it sounds, we're talking about down the road. We got to talk about right now. What can WWE do after WrestleMania, after Lesnar gets that another L in his column? What can WWE do to raise his stock back up and actually have fans, Diamond, feel invested that, okay, you know what, I can order this pay-per-view and actually feel strong and confident knowing that Brock Lesnar, he's going to get a W here? Because I think for that hardcore Brock Lesnar fans, they may not be too pleased with the losses that have been tallying up since he's come back to the company.
I feel that after this loss to Triple H, a W is coming back to Brock Lesnar by way of CM Punk. I predict that they're going to need to turn Punk face and feud him with Brock Lesnar post WrestleMania. You're going to need to break up the Heyman guys, if you will. What better way than to do it through Brock Lesnar and Punk?
Right.
Cena's going to win the title from The Rock, obviously, and that's going to go forward. But like I said, I'm predicting a feud between Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, probably SummerSlam.
Okay. Yeah, I mean because that's something I'm really concerned about right now. I mean, these losses are tallying up, and if you're keeping track at home, you take the Eddie Guerrero, you take the Goldberg, and then you take the John Cena. That's 3 pay-per-view losses right there, and that's all in the order of the way he appeared. There's nothing in between that. That's exactly how it went down. And, you follow that up to SummerSlam there. He did get a win over Triple H, but now he's got to lose to Triple H this year. You definitely can't help but be a little bit concerned about him. Now, I know how they're dubbing Brock Lesnar. They're saying he isn't a wrestler. He isn't a superstar. He's a fighter. You have a fighter and an entertainment company. Okay, so that kind of works, but you definitely can't keep seeing him get his ass handed to him. Pay-per-view after pay-per-view, you got to have there be some type of a streak going. You got to build his stock back up so that when you do get to that point, and I always don't mind it when WWE jumps ahead. We know they do this with WrestleManias. There's always at least a year ahead thinking about what's the next one they want to do. And quite honestly, I think the way they've been telling some of these stories for some of these past few WrestleMania matches, they've been doing a good job, getting it back up to that point, hyping it up, that build up. I like that, but you want to make sure that after WrestleMania, between, Extreme Rules this year on to next year, Brock Lesnar is right up there to where he was when last we saw him take on The Rock, who, my God, was booed out of that freaking arena. I'll never forget that. Fans couldn't wait to see him get F5'd and Brock get crowned with that new title. And how about that main event on Raw? We saw John Cena, when it counted the most, Diamond, he scored a huge win over CM Punk. We continue to see the development of a determined, focused John Cena who continues his path of redemption, as now the stage is officially set. We got The Rock taking on John Cena for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Diamond, with this one-on-one WrestleMania rematch now set, what's your thoughts on if this encounter, strip away the WWE title being on the line, can it be just as good as last year or better?
No, definitely. It can be better. It could be, I misunderstood you. I thought you said that it could be. It could definitely be better than last year, and I think that it will be better. I think that for starters, this year, the buy rate is going to be the highest that it's ever been. I think that the most people live are going to be able to see WrestleMania this year, more than any time before, including last year. And that's going to be because of the people in the main event.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah, mainly. Yeah. Of course, and you really can't have a Hall of Fame in New York without this man. Another inductee has been announced, joining Bruno Sammartino, Mick Foley, Trish Stratus. Mr. Bob Backlund is the one and only money, Mr. Donald Trump, who played a very vital role. What was that, Diamond? WrestleMania 4 and 5, as he hosted it at, what was that, Trump Palace or Trump Plaza? Trump
yeah,
Casino?
I think it was, yeah, absolutely.
Played a very vital part in WWE's history there, and was one of the early supporters.
And another WrestleMania too. We had McMahon versus Trump. He was in that one.
Yeah, WrestleMania 23, I think it was. Battle of the Billionaires, as they were calling it.
Bobby Lashley's corner. He's like, "Come on, Bobby!"
Yeah. Remember how Trump was messing up Bobby Lashley's name? He was like, "My man Leslie is going to tear up."
Right.
Oh, my God. Not Umaga, Umanga. I was like, get the names right. But hey, you can't really correct Donald Trump, what he says goes. Yeah, a lot of history there for Donald Trump. I was actually quite pleased when I heard him get the announcement. I wasn't mad. I did not have one of those special guest host moments, like Charlie Sheen or Charlie Theron, or it's like, what the hell are these people doing affiliated with this? They don't know what's going on here. I was very pleased that we had Donald Trump get announced, and his ties, it goes way back, and grandest stage of them all out there in New York, New Jersey. That's going to be freaking awesome right there. Donald Trump, you're fired. Something Vince McMahon still is pissed off about to this very day. He did not get that trademark. That's just got to be kicking him in the ass big time. And let's talk about Jack Swagger. Last we were on the air, my God, man, it looked like Jack Swagger was on his way out the door. But lo and behold, we have this freaking political commentator, idiot, / radio personality, Glenn Beck, take aim at the WWE, take aim at the wrestling fans, calling them stupid wrestling people. I'm not going to go all hardcore in depth because I actually talked about this on the weekend edition from Saturday. So if you haven't checked that out, go backtrack in the archives and pull that up. Great segment I gave right there. And it should be noted, I actually sent an email to Glenn Beck's publicist, stating who I was, what I do, and offered to come on to the show to help enlighten Mr. Beck about these so-called stupid wrestling fans. And I didn't hear anything back. I wasn't too surprised by that. I think at this point he knows that his foot is up his ass and he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to these stupid wrestling fans in the WWE. But it looked as though Jack Swagger was going to be out of a job. Glenn Beck starts trashing the company, trashing the Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter character. It was mainly the Zeb Coulter character he was focused on, and has taken just new heights now. It looks like Jack Swagger's job, Diamond, is freaking saved.
But when you really look at it, let's go back for a minute, go back a couple months, or last year actually. You remember when CM Punk struck a fan?
Yeah.
And we were thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to fire him, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Nothing happened. All right, and of course, Swagger and Punk are not at the same point. But I mean, there have been other people that have been arrested for intoxication charges. I want to say one of the Funkettes had some type of issue, if I remember correctly.
You remember?
Yeah, kind of recently. And I just think that ultimately the angle is going well. I don't see a need for them to reset, and from what they showed last night, they're not going to reset it with another person. Jack Swagger's still there. I think that he's trying to grow his beard. I just think that the whole thing is working. I really enjoyed the interaction between him and Alberto Del Rio yesterday, only some people can get away with the pink shirt that Del Rio had on last night.
Oh, yes, indeed, yeah. I just love when Zeb Coulter, it's something new that he started doing. I just love the way he announces Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio. I like that. Like, he's just trying to let that R roll a little bit. But Zeb Coulter, man, that is a freaking mouthpiece, man. I have just been glued to the set with everything that he's been saying since the moment he debuted. I mean, he had my attention from the moment I saw his shaggy face and his messed up hair, and he just opens his mouth, and it's like to just think that the way he looks, and he definitely comes off as a man of intellect. When you do your homework of the man behind the character, you'll learn that he's a very established author. So that explains why he's able to cut such great freaking promos. He has that whole psychology down as far as cutting a promo, and I'm in love with the man. I love his work. Made a fan out of me. I'm like backtracking, trying to look at his earlier stuff because unfortunately I don't quite remember him. So I've been enjoying doing a little bit of homework on him. But that was a good promo that he and Miz had there. And we should point out to you guys, if you haven't jumped on the bandwagon yet, if you haven't downloaded that WWE Raw app, you want to make it be your business to do so. And WWE isn't paying me or Diamond K to plug that. I'm just being straight up with you guys. There are a couple of nice little hidden gems you get to see in between the commercial breaks. And I know one of the segments that we saw on the Raw Active app was Zeb Coulter upset with Miz for the way that segment was handled. And he called him biased and called his journalistic abilities poor. And we saw Jack Swagger attack him from behind. And it was like, as soon as you saw that, you were like, okay, this is definitely going to be a match that's going to happen on Raw later in the night. And then sure enough, we got that match. And that was a pretty good match in itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely a good match. Shield, they are still continuing on, although they got duped this week. They were bragging a little too much there, Diamond, as Sheamus called them out looking for a fight. Two of them leave the ring. Poor Seth Rollins left there all alone, and he gets hit with that RKO. And where is this going, do you think? Because I'm a little bit confused, because on the one hand, I'm looking at what's going on with Sheamus and Wade Barrett, and mind you, I love the way Wade Barrett has just been getting buried for what looks like a really good movie with Colin Farrell, Dead Man Down. That actually looks like it'd be a damn good movie to go check out, especially if Colin Farrell's in it. He usually does pretty good stuff, and I don't care what anybody says. What he did in Alexander, that was a damn good movie. If you don't get Alexander, then, screw you. But I thought Alexander was a good movie. But just grilling in the Wade Barrett there for his brilliant acting, as he's not saying a word, doesn't even have any freaking camera time. This is looking like, on the one hand, we're possibly going to see a match with these two guys. Maybe at Mania, I'm not sure. But then on the other hand, you got him juggling the Shield. Where's the end result for this? Which way do you think WWE is going to be going with that? Diamond, fix your headset.
Yep. Not sure if you can hear. Not sure if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you now.
Voice activated here. Yeah, it's voice activated here. So definitely apologize for all of those listening live that my reaction to the comment was,
You need me to repeat all that again, don't you? You're off tonight, man. What's going on? Focus, man.
It's a lot going on here.
Oh man, is it so bad? You want to take a commercial?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a commercial break. We can do that then. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll try to figure it out, and we'll come right back. Hey, sorry folks, but the flow, we'll take a commercial break. We're gonna make sure that the flow is just smooth sailing after this. You listen to the RCWR show. He's Diamond K. I'm Lee Sanders. We'll be coming right back. Give us about 3 minutes, maybe a little less. We'll come right back. All right, and we are back. Technical difficulties is squared away. All right, so he's the one and only Diamond K. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You're listening to the Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR show. So, as the commercial break was going there, Diamond, I thought we both brought up very valid points there. Glenn Beck saved Jack Swagger's job because if he would have kept his mouth shut, Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter would probably be gone right about now.
Well, at least Jack Swagger would. I don't know whether or not they would have replaced Swagger with someone else.
Yeah. Because, it was really looking as though Swagger was getting ready to put that spot at WrestleMania against Del Rio on the line, and then somebody else would have just came on in. I don't know if it would have been Wade Barrett or Sheamus, who knows, but somebody would have just slid on in there, yanked it up, probably lose to Del Rio, but either way, we wouldn't have seen no Jack Swagger with Del Rio. I'm thinking that definitely would have been highly likely, and just the fact that Glenn Beck has given this angle the exposure that it's gotten, that's actually kind of made WWE take a step back, and unfortunately, whether some of you all like it or not, it's actually made WWE go, well, we're able to capitalize on it. It's got people buzzing. Let's go ahead and run right through it. And we should have known something was up, Diamond, because as soon as we saw a new Zeb Coulter Jack Swagger video, I believe they released one or two over the weekend there, or at least around Friday. That was a sign right there. It's not over.
Definitely not over. And the thing is that I really like Jack Swagger in this role. If you pay attention to his expressions, I like him growing the beard. His eyes, just the whole thing. He's all the way in. What did you think about the match between him and Miz?
That was a damn good match, actually. I, at one point, thought, damn, am I watching main event? Because that's just how good it was. I had to try to jog my memory what else I had saw in the night. Oh, thank God for WWE reminding us every freaking segment of the Brock Lesnar Triple H brawl. I could understand it and appreciate it if I was 95 years old, but my God, man, it seemed like every freaking segment. And folks, in case you missed it, it's like, but I didn't even miss it the other 4 times that you guys showed it, I'm sure you guys can feel exactly what I'm talking about. It's like they just keep showing the same thing over and over and over again. But, that match with Miz there, that was freaking awesome. Just made that poor bad boy tap out. But what was so brilliant, I thought, and you got to really go under the surface, Diamond. Did you all peep out how it went Miz TV, the American versus the illegal immigrants, to United States champion foreigner Antonio Cesaro taking on an American? I just thought that was freaking brilliant booking. I'm like, it's just those little things. I'm like, I wonder if WWE booking was even aware of the way they did the ordering tonight, because that was just brilliant booking in itself, and that was freaking phenomenal. But I got a bone to pick. What is up with these freaking tout videos, man? It's like
they've made a comeback.
Oh, my God, man. I thought, the last time I did a rant on the Tout videos, I guess it worked because we didn't see them for a good moment. Then they set up and they're like, we want to get you all's reactions to what you all had saw between Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and it's like, okay, you guys want to tweet. That's what I'm thinking. We want you guys to tout it out. I'm like, oh, fudge. The freaking Tout is back. And what happens? What happens, folks? Just once, Diamond, I'd like to see a freaking hot babe with big boobs, luscious lips.
Well, you're not going to see her. Nah, that's not going to happen.
Or at least, okay, that's fine. How about at least a GQ-looking guy that doesn't look like he kicks back in the basement watching porn all freaking day and only comes up when it's time to watch wrestling and eat? I mean, can I at least get somebody that looks somewhat presentable? I mean, the 3 Tout videos we see 2 grown-ass guys with more hair on their faces combined than Damian Sandow, talking about some with big bass in their voice. I didn't think what went down with Brock Lesnar there. Well, I think Triple H got what was coming to him. And it's like, really? Then we go to some big guy with a scraggly beard. I'm like, okay. Then the brother, that was the insult to injury right there. We get this brother that looks like he's been smoking marijuana all freaking day, got a freaking black tank top on, and he's like, yeah, man, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, man, I'm like, every time, Diamond, they do this stupid Tout, they are always taking jabs at the typical. That's how they're dubbing it. I don't think wrestling fans look like that. I don't think your average wrestling fan looks like that. And it's like you guys go through thousands, probably hundreds of videos. Okay,
yeah, definitely.
Can't you pick out some representable? Make them look decent looking. I don't mind if they have facial hair. Trim it up. Have it nice and clean. My message to you guys, you grown-ass adults that get on Tout, you are representing wrestling fans everywhere. It's bad enough that wrestling fans have this stupid stigma that they are ignorant, that their intelligence is that of a third grader, they haven't graduated high school, that they're dropping out because they're getting girls pregnant at early ages, okay? I mean, there is a lot of jacked up stuff that they are saying about the typical wrestling fan, okay?
Some of it's true, though.
It's true. That's the jacked up part. It's true. It's like you do these freaking Tout videos. You're representing the wrestling community. Look freaking presentable, okay? Look, you're not cool if you're sitting up with another grown-ass man on a Monday night looking at a bunch of guys wrestling, talking about with a deep bass in your voice, well, I think Brock Lesnar was wrong. Well, I think Triple H was wrong. I don't want to see that. Give me a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Give me a nice little couple on the couch. Well, honey, because that's actually real. That's legit. Diamond, I don't know about you, man, but I can recall many times I'm kicking back with my girl. We're watching something on Raw, and we're both commenting on it right then and there. And it's like, why not go for that? It pisses me off to no end. And you guys are probably, you're kicking back laughing, and, I'm being serious, all joking aside.
Yeah.
We got to represent, It's bad enough we got guys that spend hundreds to thousands of dollars on these WWE replica belts, and then they take these silly little pictures of them with the title because they're the champion, and then they have the audacity to take these belts, to the arenas and like they're big and bad and everything like that. First of all, let me tell you something. That title, okay, replica, it'd be one thing if somebody signed it and you're just showing it off. Okay, that's fine. I get that. Okay? But, grown-ass man pushing a title, looking scraggly looking, and you're giving us all bad reps. I mean, they even say us wrestling fans are obese. I mean, they say some really jacked up stuff. Here's what I want you guys to do. You don't believe me? You think I'm being too harsh? Do a Google search. Type in your favorite wrestling website that you like to go to for wrestling news. If you have the Alexa toolbar plug-in on your Firefox or your Google Chrome search engine, if you don't, download it. It's free. It's called Alexa. It tells you the world rank of that website, and it tells you the U.S. rank, right? Here's the thing that's interesting. There's actually a section where you can click on the website, and it gives you a bio of that respected website. Now, I'm not going to put the website's name out there because I don't want to give them that type of press. Especially after the way they've treated me. That's a whole different other story. I'll get into that at another time. But type it in, you click on it, and I BS you not, this is actually the description of this particular wrestling website, mainstream website. In a nutshell, it says that the average age and education level of its users that visit that website for wrestling news,
right,
the average is 18 to 39 years old with an education of 6th grade.
Wow.
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I BS you not. BS you not, man. You can't make that stuff up. You know, but please, for the love of God, just the Tout videos, man. It's, you know, my God.
Yeah.
You look, you'll never see me do that type of shit. Okay, let me be straight up honest with you guys. If I got something I want to say, I will hop on YouTube. I'll get in front of a webcam. I got no problem with that. I don't have a problem showing my face, you know. But man, you know, grown ass man, WWE Universe, and you know, that's just not gonna work. And it's like every time, Diamond, they do this tout stuff, bro. They never show us young WWE fans. I can't remember the last time I saw a little kid that sat up and say, you know, yay, Triple H is back, and I can't wait for WrestleMania because I want to see him beat Brock Lesnar and get him real good. You don't see that. You know? I mean, seriously. Let me get off that rant, okay? I don't know if you heard the show intro, but I played this clip and I remixed it up a little bit. I put a little T-Pain Crybaby in there, and there's this fan that's been making waves on social media. I love this kid. He's got some good content on his YouTube channel, and this kid, he went on this 2-minute rant about Undertaker making his return at a WWE live house show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he basically said the experience it's ruined. Did you hear it?
I did not.
You know, okay. Look. I'm gonna hook you up right now. Let's rewind it back, and for those of you that might have missed, I just want to play it again because I think it's freaking hilarious. Here we go.
So I guess The Undertaker returned to the WWE tonight at a house show in Texas. Now, what confuses me is if you're going to have a superstar like The Undertaker return, why are you doing it at a house show? You ruined Monday. Monday is now ruined. We all know that John Cena versus CM Punk is going to happen. Ooh, the lights went out. It's the Shield. The Shield is going to come out and... No! Oh, but it's The Undertaker. Tune the bells. We know it's going to happen now. Because you ruined it. Because you let a superstar like The Undertaker, who looks worse than ever, by the way, and... I don't care, you're gonna say I look bad, I don't give a shit. I'm not a professional wrestler. The Undertaker looks like shit, and he came back to team with Sheamus at a house show in Texas. I don't know what Vince is smoking. His ideas are antiquated, he's an idiot, and put the dog down. Get him out of creative. This is enough. The Undertaker's return should have been saved. I would have been surprised Monday when the lights come out. Damn, what a fail that was. Ooh, what a good match. Oh my God, it's the Shield. Boom. Undertaker. But instead, I'm going to be disappointed because I already guessed it was going to happen. Nice job. You have ruined Raw for me. I won't watch it now. I don't plan on seeing it anymore. That's it. At least we had the thought that maybe CM Punk might do CM Punk's fucked over again. That means CM Punk is going to lose at WrestleMania now. He lost at Rumble. He's losing to all these old fuckers who only wrestle once a year. Why are you burying CM Punk? That's it. Not watching Raw Monday.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, hey buddy, I don't know if you're listening, man, but you were way off, man. No Undertaker Monday. I guess he missed one hell of an episode. But Undertaker, you know, we heard the rumblings there. It looked as if maybe, you know, he was going to pop up there because the way that main event match ended, we see John Cena, he's taking his time, he's walking out the ring. We see CM Punk, you know, it's like, okay, he's in the ring, okay. And it just kind of looked like maybe we was going to get a little something there, but it just goes off and you're like, oh, okay, no Undertaker. So we got old school Raw that's going to be coming up. Already heard for you Edgehead fans, Edge isn't even going to be there. He straight up said no. Somebody asked him on Twitter, and honestly, I don't think that's a curveball. Edge has been brutally honest with folks when it comes to him in the WWE, and I definitely hold him at his word. If he says no, he's not going to be there. I don't see him being there. But it's going to be another old school edition of Raw, and if you remember what they did last year, you know you're going to be in for a really nice treat as they go way, way back, like 80s way back there. Love that. Any chance, Diamond, possibly of a return from The Undertaker?
I don't think an old school Raw, but one thing that was interesting to me is the first person that I saw in the advertisements for the old school Raw was the Nature Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, now that you mention it.
So,
yeah.
I definitely think we can expect to see the Nature Boy next week. Last year, I think that the old school Raws, they had a lot of promise. I was very excited, but I think that the delivery and the execution of the old school Raw left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I mean, I don't
think no Taker though. No Taker.
No Taker.
Yeah, not an old school Raw. But to answer your new best friend's video, the reason you bring Taker back during the house show was for them to properly evaluate and assess whether or not he's ready physically to get back in the ring. I don't think that means that he's coming back. I don't think, which I do think he's coming back, but I don't think you can take that to say he's you know, if the tag didn't go well, then he wouldn't be back. So you know, they needed that to happen to see whether or not we're really going to get Taker back.
And on top of that, you know, we're hearing those reports, and it's definitely accurate. He's been pretty banged up. I mean, that last year there where he was at Mania with Triple H, he damn near shattered his hip there. Of course, he had some nagging shoulder problems, so he had some hip surgery and shoulder surgery done all within the same year after Mania. And it was said that his injuries were so severe that WWE actually had to have doctors go to him at his home as he was pretty much bedridden there for a while. And with regards to the shape that he's in, you know, and this is just common sense right here. A lot of folks were like, oh, he looks fat, he's he's out of shape, he looks pathetic. Understand this. Undertaker looks that way because with those injuries, he unfortunately was not able to work on the upper body, and he wasn't able to work on the lower body. So that is why he looks the way he does. And, like you said, Diamond, this house show was nothing more than him testing out the waters, seeing what he's capable of, and if he even remotely thinks that he can deliver a 5-star, hell, maybe even a 3.5 to 4-star quality type of match, then it's game on. And, honestly, we got 5 Raws left, basically a month, 1 week. I don't know, based on the picture that I saw, I don't know if that's really going to be enough time for Undertaker to really get nice and toned up. Even with the help of his lovely wife, Michelle McCool, who has that whole fitness background, I don't think that's going to be enough time. I love Undertaker. I love him. Loved him for many years. Him, Stone Cold, Triple H, those are my guys. But, I don't want to see Taker this year. I just don't. I love the idea of a CM Punk versus Undertaker, but my whole thing is, let's not even see it go down this year. Let Undertaker sit this one out. I'm actually one of those guys that gives a flying crap about his health, and I want to see him be more than 80, 90, 100%. I want to see him at 120%. I want to see that lean, mean, fighting machine of an Undertaker that I've come to know and love over the years. Let him come back, one last hoorah, where it counts the most, WrestleMania 30. Bow out at that pay-per-view. They don't need him. We got Brock Lesnar. We got Triple H. We got The Rock. We got John Cena. We got Chris Jericho. We're probably going to have a couple of celebrities in there. We got Dolph Ziggler probably going to cash in the briefcase. We really don't need Undertaker this year.
What do you do with CM Punk if there's no Taker?
Honestly, you do the daggone triple threat match between he, John Cena, and The Rock. That's what you go with. And afterwards, go right to that little rivalry there with Brock Lesnar, and that's really how you can have CM Punk get redeemed big time.
Yeah, I'm still up in the air about that. I like the prospect of a triple threat match, especially under these circumstances. I think that it kills a lot of things. We don't get an exact rematch. We get a match with a twist. But I'm up in the air about that. If Taker, I don't think Taker's ever going to be 100% with the type of surgeries and injuries that he's had. So I don't know. So you would be disappointed with an 80%, 75% Undertaker, and 100% CM Punk in a match?
Honestly, I would, because that would mean that CM Punk would kind of have to do most of the work for Undertaker.
Right.
And right. I don't want to see that. I want to see Undertaker come back at 100% or better, injury-free, in great shape. He's always had that reputation physically for a good amount of years of always being in the best of shape, not big and buffy like a Brock Lesnar or a Batista, but, he kind of had one of those, for a big guy, he was nice and trim, and it was like, damn, he moves pretty good. That's what I want to see, I think this will put hardcore Undertaker fans in a really bad spot because, the vibe I'm getting right now, and I would love to see footage of this tag match, and special shout out to anybody listening, especially if you were there, if you recorded it or whatever on your cell phone, iPad, hook us up, maybe we could make an arrangement, maybe we could, pay you for it. I'm sure we could work out some type of deal, but I would love to get my hands on that. And but I need to see him at 100%, because I think the hardcore Undertaker fans, they will be watching this match if it goes down between he and CM Punk. They will be watching it very carefully, and they will be critiquing it to the point where they'll go, okay, with regards to what he did with Triple H last year, is it that good? Or what about the year before? What about the 2 years with Shawn Michaels? They're going to be comparing, and I think a lot of fans are going to be a little disappointed with this match, because really it'll be all about CM Punk looking good. And honestly, when it comes to Undertaker at Mania, you always kick back and say, damn, Taker had you could just think of a handful of WrestleMania matches that's like, damn, Taker was pretty freaking awesome in that one. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's pushing the Grail right here.
I mean, let's not forget, Undertaker fought Giant Gonzalez. He's had matches. There was one of the worst matches that I remember, Undertaker versus Undertaker. I mean, he's been involved in some WrestleMania matches that were less than stellar.
Yeah.
Padding up the streak. Well, I mean, I don't think they even realized that it was a streak at that point. But I think that Undertaker can get by with a decent match that a ring general carries him in, as each match that he's had has been less than the previous year's WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think that the first Shawn Michaels encounter was better.
Yes.
And I mean, it needs to round out a WrestleMania 30, but for it to all make sense, I'm thinking that he's got to do a 29.
Just to kind of properly set up 30.
Yeah. Definitely. What if this happened? And I know this is cheap, but what if he came out and was attacked by the Shield and was unable to make it to the ring for WrestleMania match? But they billed the match, but it didn't happen.
Wow. Now that would be interesting. That would be interesting. But then at the same time, would you try to have the Shield remain together all the way up until he gets ready to return?
No. I mean, and I'm just throwing this out there. What if we had the match? What if they rang the bell? What if they ended up with a count-out victory because the Shield beat them up or something to that effect, and you get a victory from Punk, but it's tainted because it's a count-out?
So then the argument could be made that Taker's streak is still active.
Well, you could, but Punk could say that he ended it, and then you could prolong it some kind of way and maybe get another match, a proper match out of them at some point down the line. But I'm just throwing some things around out there. I'm just thinking that you need Taker to at least make an appearance at WrestleMania.
Well, he will be there. He'll be at Access all weekend.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We don't need him on the actual card. Just hey, Undertaker's at Access. He's in the VIP joint. Go, got $1,000? Get a picture with the Undertaker. And I gotta agree with Philip. Philip said people in New York would riot if they saw that scenario go down. Yeah, that New York crowd,
you're probably
man.
right, Philip.
Yeah, I can't mess with that New York crowd. I want to pick your brain on this list here. It is a good list, too. I want to run down it real quick. I think it's something good for the listeners, too. WWE, they have this article that's up. With the return of Triple H beating the crap out of Brock Lesnar, they rewinded back to look at the greatest moments of Triple H's career. And I thought this was very interesting. It's a good trip down memory lane because it was actually testing out my memory. And I'm like, okay, I remember.
Is this on WWE.com?
Yeah, it's on WWE.com. I'm not gonna go all no 10-minute in depth into it, but I thought that some of it was kind of interesting. Again, Triple H's greatest moments, May 19th, 1996, curtain call.
What is this in any order?
It's just no particular order. It's just
okay.
out there. Yeah. Curtain call, May 19th, 1996. Who could forget that one? Triple H's WWE career gets off to a rocky start, stemming from an incident at the WWE live event, Madison Square Garden. Infamous curtain call, supposed foes, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon, and he had embraced in the ring. As y'all know, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, they took a pretty good big deal there from WCW. And that was pretty much their last night there. And, they did something that was considered very taboo that should not have went down in front of the crowd. It shouldn't have been revealed that, they are all actual friends and all that. They had no business doing that. And Shawn Michaels at the time was the WWE champion, so he was able to, get away unscathed. But Triple H for the next year, he would end up eating a lot of crap. And but curtain call, I definitely remember that one. Assuming the throne, June 8th, 1997. That was the year that he had won the King of the Ring tournament, and he defeated Ahmed Johnson and Mankind. Now, the thing that I remember, you remember that one?
Yeah, where's Ahmed now?
I know, right? Shoot. The thing I remember most about that, though, I remember the night that he won it, and then the next night on Raw, they were trying to have him wear the freaking crown, and he just refused to wear it, and he just threw it on the ground, and he just stomped it. He was destroying the hell out of it. And I remember they tried to do the ceremony at least like 2-3 times, and Vince actually wanted him to wear the crown, but he was against it. And I remember it's on Triple H's DVD. I think it's the King of Kings DVD. He was talking about it, and Vince was like, "You're just not going to wear that crown, are you?" And Triple H was like, "No, it's stupid. I'm not wearing it." So Vince was like, "Well, okay then." 2 words for you. October 13th, 1997. That was the night that Triple H and Shawn Michaels kept doing a series of interference in matches on the other's behalf. The pair of former Click members plus Chyna ravishing Rick Rude. That was officially the dawning of Degeneration X. Good moment right there. Running with the Ball, March 30th, 1998. WrestleMania 14. Triple H's stablemate Shawn Michaels loses the WWE Championship. Next night on Raw, the game states HBK had dropped the ball and names himself the new leader of Degeneration X. He recruits old friend X-Pac, New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg, Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, and that was officially Triple H's new regime. Diamond, you remember one of the early interviews that Triple H had gave right after he had announced that, this was the new regime, and he was chatting with Jim Ross, telling him how, it's all about him now, it's his time?
I definitely remember that. Good time. I definitely thought that the New Age Outlaws were a good fit for the outfit and the unit. Definitely. I mean, at that time, there wasn't anything hotter than DX. Yeah.
Now, this one I vaguely remember, unfortunately. The game, August 23rd, 1999, after joining Mr. McMahon's corporation at WrestleMania 15, Triple H receives multiple opportunities at the WWE Championship throughout the year, but always came up short, including a triple threat match at SummerSlam. But the night after the event on Raw, he defeats Mankind to finally win his first ever WWE Championship.
Yeah, definitely. Is Chyna's name actually mentioned in this article?
Chyna's name was actually mentioned, yeah. Yeah. They actually gave her a nod. I thought that was very interesting there. McMahon-Hemsley era, November 29th, 1999. Enough said. We don't even need to go into details about that.
That had to be on there.
Yeah.
That had to be on there.
Yeah. The Cerebral Assassin, November 6, 2000. In a shocking moment, the Game nails Stone Cold Steve Austin in the skull with a sledgehammer, revealing himself to be the mastermind responsible for influencing Rikishi to run over Austin with a car 1 year prior. Yeah, I remember that. Rikishi, I did it for The Rock. That was awesome. Let's see here. World Famous Return. This one I still remember vividly to this very day. I actually have this on my VCR. VHS, I'm old school sometimes. May 2001, Triple H suffered a career-threatening injury, tearing his quads completely off the bone. Following an 8-month hiatus, the Game makes his highly anticipated return at Madison Square Garden. Great fucking live reaction right there. I remember the video hypes for that. They were using U2's It's a Beautiful Day from their I can't think of the name of the album right now, and that totally freaking sucks because that's one of my favorite U2 albums of all time. But that whole thing was just freaking awesome, and I mean that was like the moment you knew just how much fans had appreciated Triple H and everything that he did for the business, because it was like, thank God this man is back, you know. Yeah, that was a good moment right there.
Definitely.
Birth of a title, September 2nd, 2002. After Brock Lesnar wins the Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam, the title becomes exclusive to the SmackDown brand, leaving Raw without a champion. However, Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff awards Triple H with a brand new championship, represented by a prize-carrying plenty of heritage. As a result, first ever World Heavyweight Champion, Triple H bestows instant credibility to the new title. A little bit of trivia. Let's test your brain out, Diamond. Who was the first person to challenge Triple H after becoming the champ?
First person. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. As soon as he was crowned with the belt, this person came out to challenge him.
Rock?
See, and I thought this was good trivia that they should have put right here.
I think that's
but WWE didn't mention this. This is good trivia for you guys. This same night, September 2nd, 2002, that Triple H was crowned with that title, Ric Flair challenged him. Because he told him, he said, look, I've been a champion 16 times, and each one of those times a title was never handed to me. You want to prove that you're the champion, then put that title up on the line, because you're not just going to be able to walk out of here with it after being awarded it. And the match was set. Yeah, good little trivia right there. End of a title, October 20th, 2002. And what proves to be one of the most controversial battles, Triple H strikes a nerve with Kane and defeats the Big Red Monster to unify the Intercontinental Championship with the World Heavyweight Championship. With the Game's monumentous victory, the Intercontinental title becomes inactive and is not contested for another 7 months. Yeah, I actually remember that one. Surprisingly, what was not on this list, Diamond, and I thought it should have at least gotten an honorable mention, was the night that Triple H had defeated Kane, and as a result of that, Kane had to do something he's never done before in his entire career, which was unmask himself.
How about that? It was pretty ugly,
Yeah. I mean, even though there was like a lot of interference on behalf of Triple H was still the centerpiece of that. He was the one that got that ball rolling to have Kane be unmasked. I thought that definitely should have gotten a honorable mention. And I actually found that out. That's research I did on my end, folks. To Hell and Back, December 15, 2002. Throughout the second half of 2002, Triple H engages in a deep personal rivalry with Shawn Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid wins the first battle, unsanitized street fight at SummerSlam. I remember that one. HBK's first match in more than 4 years, but the Game wins the war, defeating his former best friend in a brutal 3 stages of hell match, damn good match, to begin his second reign as World Heavyweight Champion. That was a damn good rivalry he had there with Michaels. Everything Evolves, of course. That was the birth of Evolution. We all know about that. Pretty much launched the careers of Dave Bautista, Randy Orton, updated version of the Four Horsemen. Good stuff right there. For me, this one has great sentimental value. I think, Diamond, you might agree. I don't know how you look at this one. King of Kings, April 2nd, 2006, WrestleMania 22. Triple H takes on John Cena. This was the night for me that I started having a lot of freaking respect for Triple H because he did something he's never done before. He actually put somebody cleanly over in the middle of the ring. Who could forget those last few moments there of that match with John Cena? Cena had him in the STFU. Triple H passes out. The referee, he lifts up the arm. 1, 2, it drops. Yeah. That third time, Triple H is still alive, and he just is like at least 2 seconds away from grabbing the ropes to get the break, but he just taps out. And for me, that was a freaking awesome moment right there. I started having a lot of respect for him because at that point, everybody was like, when is he going to do something, to put somebody over? And he finally did the right thing right here. Kind of goes back to what Bret Hart had said a while back. Remember Bret Hart being very critical of Triple H, saying, when has he ever done something that, meant something significant? Well, that's an example right there. Definitely we should mention. Are You Ready? June 2006, in a series of circumstances culminating in a match pitting Triple H against the entire Spirit Squad. The Game reforms Degeneration X with former best friend turned rival Shawn Michaels to confront Mr. McMahon, and over the next 4 years, the duo practices their familiar brand of chaos, battling teams including Rated RKO, The Legacy, and Jericho, and they finally win the WWE Tag titles. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty good. And rounding it out, and I don't even need to go into any details about this one, The Last Outlaws, End of an Era, and I Tried. Of course, we all know that one. Brock Lesnar tried.
Yeah.
Correction, Triple H tried to defeat Brock Lesnar. He got his ass whooped and looked like he was getting ready to retire there for a little bit. Kind of gave you the impression, but he's now back. Good list right there. But I definitely had to add those little honorable mentions. Good little trivia there for you guys. And, with all that being said, you can't help but, when you read the list, Diamond, of everything that Triple H has done, you really can't help but say, you know what, from a professional wrestler or entertainment standpoint, the man has done a lot through his career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, they're definitely not going to let us forget, as you pointed out earlier, they're not going to let us forget any of his accomplishments.
Yeah. Damn.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I tell you what, they can remind us over and over again. I'm only going to go through that list once. I'm sorry. It's now available in the archives. It's like, you want to relive Triple H moments? There you go, right there. How about this, though? I found this out. I thought this was very interesting, Diamond. I don't know if you heard about this, but earlier today, MVP, who used to work for the WWE, he had released a series of tweets as he announced the end of his run in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, for you guys that don't know, MVP was the first IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and he said that he will return to wrestling eventually, but he is focused on a new TV show. Direct quotes right here. I would like to thank New Japan for allowing me to realize a dream. I love Japan and will forever be grateful. I left on good terms, as always. I will return to wrestling eventually. The door is open for a return to WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and even TNA. However, my focus now is developing my TV show. I'm currently working on a TV project with Lionsgate TV. I'll release more details soon, but right now I'm not affiliated with any company. And for the record, my show has nothing to do with wrestling. I'm excited about it. The people at Lionsgate TV have been awesome. And should be noted that MVP, he last worked for WWE back in December 2010, shortly after he joined New Japan in 2011. And his final match for New Japan was at last month's Tokyo Dome show on January 4th. So, Diamond, what do you think this project is that he's working on could possibly be?
Hard to say. I really haven't heard any rumblings, so I really don't know.
I mean, he's a hell of a rapper. I mean, he's got some chops. That man can rap. Yeah, I mean, I like his stuff. I'm very curious about this TV show. I'm definitely going to be watching it, and hopefully as soon as we can get a little bit more info, we'll definitely share it with you all. I just hope it's not one of those frickin' bachelorettes. So, we got enough of those as it is, Quite honestly, it doesn't get any better than Robot League, and it doesn't get any better than Hardcore Pawn. I love that damn show.
Definitely not a fan over here. I'm definitely not a fan. And that comes on the History Channel, right?
True TV.
Oh, True TV. A lot of my problem is just that if you take a channel like the History Channel, they're showing mostly current stuff and reality shows. They don't even really show history anymore.
Nah, they don't. You're right about that. Yeah. For those of you that are curious, Raw ratings for this past week, I did not forget. Let me actually hook you guys up with that. I actually got it up on the website, and while I'm pulling it up, I'm actually trying to remember for you guys on the spot. If I'm not mistaken, this past Monday Night's Raw did a 3.46 rating, up from last week, as last week had pulled in a 3.30. Remember, that was the elimination post-show there covering the Fallout. But it should be noted that as soon as Raw came on the air, Diamond, they lost viewers off the break, but it still ended up being a pretty daggone strong episode. Here you guys go. As I said, 3.46 with an average of 4.71 million viewers. And it looks like in the first hour, viewership was at 4.86 million. Then it dropped to a 4.7 million in the second. Then viewership declined more into the final hour, averaging 4.56 million viewers. Now, it should be noted here that this was the 7th week that, in a row, mind you, that WWE Raw ratings have dropped in viewership from the second to the third. Now, take that for what it's worth, but honestly, man, when I think about what we had got from Raw this past week, Diamond, I don't know if you agree, bro, but what we got was almost an Attitude Era type of episode of WWE Raw. I mean, we got the brawl there with Lesnar, Triple H, just all nice and bloody. Then we have that very controversial segment on Miz TV with Del Rio, Jack Swagger. You have that great 5-star match with John Cena and CM Punk. And mind you, they did something in that freaking match that I have not seen in years. They actually did a freaking pile driver, and you actually heard that Vince McMahon was pretty pissed off about that spot because pile drivers are supposed to be banned from there. But it really came off like an Attitude Era episode. Would you agree or disagree?
Agree.
That well, let's not forget, aside from that pile driver and something I never want to see again, and we're going to wrap up the show on this note, something I never want to see again, I don't ever want to see John Cena do a hurricanrana.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, if I have to pick the wet spot with Triple H down there and John Cena hurricanrana, I'd go with Triple H with the wet spot. I mean, that hurricanrana, that's like Ryback trying to do a moonsault. I just don't think it's possible. Respect the body. You can only bend and do so many things. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about that. Great show. I think we did good tonight. We covered a lot of bases here, and we gave you guys some real good fixings. And this Thursday night, we got Impact Showdown Radio. We're going to cover the fallout from WWE. Oh, yeah, I got my shows mixed up. Wow. Well, hey, it's live. It happens. A long night, folks. We're going to be covering the fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling. Should be a very interesting night, as we found out last week that Hulk Hogan has announced Bully Ray as the new contender to take on Jeff Hardy at the Lockdown pay-per-view March 10th. Now we're going to see, with just, 2 weeks left here, 2 episodes of Impact Wrestling. Now we're going to see what is going to be happening leading up to this Lockdown pay-per-view. Hopefully they can set this up in a way, Diamond, where fans can actually sink their teeth into this rivalry and feel that Bully Ray is not going to be put in another squash type of match. So we're definitely going to be looking forward to checking out that episode. And we'll also hook you guys up with the very latest in TNA wrestling-related news. And unless something major happens, we will just be only talking about TNA wrestling, okay? Just to give you guys a little heads up right there. All right. Diamond, any last words, buddy?
Not really, but I'm just, as I always say, I'm just looking forward to and really enjoying where we are as far as wrestling goes, and looking forward to the continuance of this great season.
Yes, as always, and I definitely want to end the show on a good, positive note right here. And 2 weeks, we're going to be celebrating a huge milestone. We're going to be celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and we're going to be going out in style. We got some guests that's definitely going to be coming on by. Make sure you stay tuned to the website at infinityOneProductions.com. Follow us on Twitter at InfinityOneProd. You can even like us on Facebook at Infinity One Productions, so you are kept current on everything that's going on. But we have a lot of cool surprises that's going to be in store for March, all in celebration of our 1-year anniversary. And it's fun. I've been enjoying this ride so far, and it's just going to keep getting better and better, definitely. For the one and only Diamond K, I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. We got to show some love. Thank you, Phil, for your comments in the chat room, buddy. Appreciate it, as always, one of our long-time listeners. Appreciate that. And all of you that are listening, and those of you that's going to be checking this out on the downloads, and that's going to do it. We'll see you guys this Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Impact Showdown Radio. Everybody, be safe, be kind to one another. See you later. Take care.
Good night.